Post subathon, there was also a moment where your Twitch contract ends.
Yeah, the subathon had kind of wrapped up and the contract was ending, and I started to talk to Twitch. And I felt like I was like, "What's up, bitches?
Yeah, I'm
hey, it's
Ludwig from the
Mr.
subathon.
Most sub man of all time.
Mr.
What's
Thon.
going on?"
Yeah, Mr. Thon.
And we chatted, and I was actually in Italy for my first vacation without having an appendix blown.
Yeah.
And
that's always a special one.
Yeah.
It's a good
It's
one,
my
right?
favorite.
Yeah, because when you go and the appendix bursts, it's not as fun.
Yeah.
And I was doing it there, all the negotiations. And I did it through Loaded, which is like the people who did Ninja's deal and Shroud's deal and all the big ones that have all the media attention. And they're like, "Oh, let's talk to YouTube." I was like, "All right, yeah, that's fine." Like, why? They're like, "Well, we can like leverage it and maybe get like a better deal." I'm like, "Oh, that's fine." They're like, "Let's talk to Facebook." I'm like, "Eat shit, that's crazy." They're like, "We'll leverage it." I'm like, "All right, fine. So yeah, we chatted with all major people, and the whole time they were like, "Well, what do you want to go with?" And I was like, "Twitch. I'm 100% Twitch. I'm bleeding purple. I like the culture. Change is scary." And then I started to get like the offers back, and it didn't feel like Twitch wanted me as much as I thought. Maybe they should. Maybe self-righteously, I thought like they should want me. I'm the most subbed guy. Yeah. And I started to rethink if I wanted to be on Twitch.
So during the negotiations, what was important to you? Like hours streamed. I saw in the video you talked about how like YouTube fought for you. Like what was important when you were in those negotiations to you and your career?
Yeah, there's three things. One was hours streamed, because I like the big projects, but it requires you to not be live a lot. To set up something like even a kickball tournament with like 30 people, you have to go to the kickball place. You have to make sure everyone's down to go. You have to get limos for everyone to get there, or taxis or whatever it is. And you can't do that if you're live playing, getting over it. So I was like, okay, I don't want to stream that many hours. One. Two, I want enough capital to do these projects because they cost a lot. I want to run the biggest Smash tournament of all time in terms of player entries and prize pool. That'll cost a few $1 million. And that's not going to get a return probably on the first event. And so it's like, okay, I need that. And then 3, and this was a weird one, but I wanted to not be reliant on viewers for money. And it's a weird thing on Twitch. And you know, at the end of the day, YouTubers are also relying on viewers because you get paid by ad revenue, but it's different than them directly giving you their money.
Totally agree.
And it doesn't matter, a streamer of any size, they still have like a sub goal, you know, they still have like donations enabled. And it's weird if you're donating to someone who's making $5 million in a year, and that's like, it's something you can do. So I was like, I want to limit that as much as possible. And so for Twitch, the way I try to actualize that, I was like, I want to cap gifted subs, reduce the amount of subs I could get.
Interesting.
Because I don't want someone to spend like $500 of their own money. It's like a shit ton of money.
Yeah, totally.
Which on hindsight makes sense. They said no shot because they're just going to make less money themselves.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would they make a product that makes them lose money?
Mm-hmm. It's like telling YouTube, like, I'm only going to let you advertise on my channel until you make upwards of $50,000.
Yeah.
And then you got to stop.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, no, you're going to be a huge part of us making $1 million. Like,
and they're like, we're trying to be a profitable company. So that was out the window. And then for the hours streamed, that's Twitch's whole model. They want you to stream as many hours as possible with as many viewers as possible, because then the people are on the platform longer, they're watching ads more, they're subbing more. So it's not like, there's not like a realm where they're like, yeah, we'll give you more money and you stream less. That doesn't add up to them because they want it to be like a profitable deal, which makes sense. But it's like, I remember thinking when I got like the offer from them, I was like, okay, you know what? I'll just do another subathon and that's how I'll make the money to do this Smash tournament. And I started to think about it. I was like, it's kind of crazy to give up a month of my life just to do an event that I want to do.
Right.
You know? And YouTube was giving me some of the tools to do that. But even after all that, I was still leaning Twitch.
Yeah.
But they're both great contracts and it'd be great futures for me either way. And so I'm like, you know what? fuck it, I'll flip a coin. Cause I've talked to everybody. I mean, I scraped the bottom of the barrel of who I called.
Right.
I was calling like my aunt and she was like, what's Twitch? And I'm like, okay, fair enough. So I'm like, all right, I'll flip a coin. Heads, I go to Twitch. Tails, I go to YouTube. And I flip it and I recorded this offline and it landed on whatever it was and it landed on Twitch. I was like, all right, I'm going Twitch. And I had to choose that night. It's like 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. And I'm like, all right. I let Loaded know. And like, I'm like, but can you set up a call with YouTube? Because I love the guys I talk to. I want to let them down personally and tell them why. So we hop on a call and they're bombed because they like had champagne in the back. There's like little bombers. They're like,
man.
They put a blanket over it. I'm like, oh. They're like, why? And I'm like, well, even though it's better, it's scary to change. It's really scary. And I told them, I was like, I flipped a coin. And they were like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I couldn't pick. I flipped a coin. You guys lost, you know? And that's when they were like, they stopped and they like looked at each other. They gave a coy look and they're like, okay, what if we could give you more tools to make the big events you want, you know? And they just gave me like a couple concessions, really. They just kind of fought a little bit. It wasn't more money. Mm-hmm. It really came down to like having more time to do more events and stuff. And I was like, damn. But I didn't make a decision. I was just like, oh, you know what? I'll take another day. And they're like, okay. So I go to Twitch the next day and I'm like, same thing. I tell them about like the coin flip, I tell them about everything. And I'm like, oh, what do you guys think? And they're like, good luck. I was like, all right. You know, and it's a business decision at the end of the day. They have like a department, they have people they have to go through. But I was like, all right, good luck. This is the future that I'm going down. They work through creators like numbers in an Excel sheet, and YouTube worked with creators as if I was a human that had wants and needs. And so I went with YouTube at the end, and that was a couple months ago now.
Wow.